Well, Kentucky took another L, and I don't mean on the basketball court. Hugh Freeze continues his tear through the transfer portal, this time at the hands of the Wildcat. Let's talk about who that new transfer is, what it means for him, and Auburn football. But before all that, if you enjoy this type of content, please do make sure that you smash that like button. As you're watching or listening today, be sure to drop a comment down below. It will help enter you into that ongoing subscriber giveaway for a signed Auburn football prize package. Details are listed in the description. And lastly, I want to thank members of our booster club like Ryan Reese, who help produce videos like this. Okay, I'm done cracking jokes on Kentucky fans, so y'all can come out of hiding. Y'all are having a rough time as it is right now anyway. But let's talk about something that's more exciting. Hugh Freeze continuing to dominate the transfer portal. Your 11th transfer of this cycle thus far. Who is that individual? Defensive lineman Justin Rogers, who's been spending his last few seasons with the Kentucky Wildcats, is now part of our transfer class, part of this recruiting class for 2023. And it's getting better and better by the day. The rising senior defensive lineman from Kentucky makes it 11 total transfers in this cycle for Hugh Freeze, and maybe the biggest one yet for him. Now, how do we get to this point? Him committing on January 12th, 2023 to Auburn. Let's look at that timeline right now. Signed with Kentucky back on December 18th, 2019, and enrolled that summer, July 1st, to be part of their team. Redshirted, spent the last few seasons with them before entering the transfer portal on January 3rd, 2023, just a few days ago before he threw his hat in with the Tigers. Now let's talk about some of the facts that you're probably wanting to know about this prospect, Justin Rogers. Measurables: 6'3", 330 pounds approximately, which puts him at a defensive tackle position, which is what he had been playing at Kentucky. Before he got to Kentucky, he hailed from Oak Park, Michigan, played for Oak Park High School, and he was listed at about a 4-star prospect. Some had him at a 5-star prospect, which means that he carries over to about a 4-star here as part of the transfer portal. Some quick storylines just to go along with this commitment. As we've talked about, Hugh Freeze has just killed the transfer portal, but it's even better when you do it against your SEC opponents, this being Kentucky. We only see them every few years, but still, you're taking one from an SEC opponent and a really highly touted one out of high school and still currently. It's really good for the whole perception game of the recruiting process. The other cool thing too, not that I see this coming into play here, but it could be just a nice backup option. He did play a little bit of offensive lineman in high school as well, just as one of those really athletic guys that could bounce back and forth, kind of like a Jeremiah right now for us. But obviously, he probably plans and will play defensive tackle. And the last part for our About This Prospect section, let's mention his stats from Kentucky. Looking at all of this total games, 33 of those for Kentucky. He has 18 of those where he was a starter, and the majority of those happened in his final year this season with Kentucky, which were 12 of those. He had a total of 60 tackles during his time there. 19 of those were solo, 41 of those were assists, 5 tackles for loss, and 3 sacks on his career for the Wildcats. Now that you know a little bit about Justin Rogers, yes, let's talk about what it means for him, but also for Auburn football. And we'll start off by talking about what it means for the 2023 class. As of his commitment, that makes it 32 total people that are part of the class. 19 of those are from the defensive side of the ball. 10 of those are part of the combined defensive lineman and edge group. And now 5 of those, including him, would be defensive tackles. Now let's look at the future for him. What are his playing time prospects, maybe even starting prospects? And when you bring a transfer of his caliber and experience in, the easy assumption to make is that he will start, and that may be true. We do know that he will contribute heavily because of the need there at this position. Currently, your depth chart right now looks like Jason Jones, Marcus Harris, Jeffrey Imba, Zykevious Walker, but there are still plenty of other guys that are ready to contribute from this class too. Very quickly, let's talk about where he comes from, because it is part of the process of how we're doing in certain pipeline states and all that kind of stuff. This is certainly not a pipeline state. He's from Michigan after all. Yes, we got him from Kentucky, but being from Michigan, we hardly ever go up to the Great White North and pull prospects out of there. So it's really good once again, even though he's the first from the state of Michigan for us in this class, and probably the first in a while, to build a relationship that could be an inroad towards that region. And lastly, let's look at what this commitment means for this particular group in the 2023 class. We've already mentioned that there are 10 defensive linemen / edge position guys in this group. Breaking it down further, 5 of those would be defensive end or edges, so the other 5 would be the defensive tackles, including him. But you've also got names like Messiah Nasili Kite, Lawrence Johnson, Quintrail, Jameson, Travis, and also Steven Johnson as well to consider. All big names ready to contribute now and in the future. So there you have it. That's my thoughts on your brand new transfer and commit to the 2023 class. Would love to know your thoughts below about Justin Rogers. Be sure to do that so you can be entered into that subscriber giveaway. And hey, subscribe because you need to be doing that to be part of that process too. Lastly, check out the links in the description for ways to help support us here at E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. War Eagle.